The Department of Justice has launched an investigation into Democratic Congresswoman Cori Bush following allegations that she misused campaign funds to pay her husband to serve as her security guard. Now, this investigation initially came to public attention on Monday when the clerk of the House read aloud a required notification by the House Sergeant at Arms that he had received a grand jury subpoena from the DOJ for documents. After consulting with the Office of General Counsel, I have determined that compliance with the subpoena is consistent with the rights and derivatives of the House, William McFarland, the Sergeant at Arms, wrote in the notice. Now, Bush was previously investigated back in 2023, meaning last year, about the alleged misuse of campaign funds on security. But apparently there were limitations to that investigation, and the DOJ would have the ability to investigate this further. Now, Bush spent more on security than any other member of the House in the months after the January 6, 2021 assault on the Capitol. In 2022, Bush's campaign paid $338,193 for security, including $225,281 to a private firm, Peace Security, $50,000 to Nathaniel Davis, and $60,000 to her husband, Courtney Merritt's, according to the complaint. The payments to Merritt's, her husband, in the amount of $2,500 were twice a month. The complaint noted that Merritt's did not have a St. Louis private security license, and that Bush and Merritt's got married in February of 2023. So at some point, they got married. Like, she started paying him for security. In the middle of that, the timeline is unclear, to be quite honest with you. They ended up getting married, but at the time when they weren't married, he was a love interest of hers. So I want to just quickly note that the House Ethics Committee had investigated this last year, and they ended up clearing her of any wrongdoing. And I'm gonna give you her statements in just a moment in response to this DOJ investigation. But I wanna go to the last graphic here, where the New York Times notes that federal prosecutors have greater investigatory powers than congressional investigators do. Ethics investigations rarely result in discipline against members of Congress. Cenk.
Yeah, so I have very mixed feelings on this. I'm gonna explain both sides of it. First, on the dates, the security seems to have mainly happened 2021, 2022, mainly 22 bills, and they seem to have gotten married February 23rd. So that's the timing of it. Okay, so why mixed feelings? So number one, paying your boyfriend and then husband for security out of campaign funds, does it sound dicey? Yes, it sounds dicey. Number two, the ethics committee cleared her. Yeah, that's true, but the ethics committee clears almost everyone. And why is that? Because they all misuse campaign funds like crazy. So when one of them comes in and says, oh, I spent it on my boyfriend and husband, they're like, we should get a load of the rest of us, right? Not guilty. So the ethics committee clearing her, it is slightly relevant for a reason I'm gonna come back to later, but you shouldn't say, oh, well, that's it, then she must be innocent, right? Then in terms of the need for security, I get it. You know, look, we get crazy threats, et cetera, all the time. She's a member of Congress. She wants to feel safer. Okay. She's one of the leaders of the defund the police movement. Is there a little bit of irony there?
Yes.
Yes. So now, look, guys, you could say full-blown irony, or you could say half irony, because yes, but she's worried that the police are abusing the citizens, and in her case, clearly she's hiring security to protect her. And if the cops acted like that, maybe she might be in favor of them.
Yeah.
But is there a sense of irony here? No protection for you, but protection for me? A little bit. No,
but
I'll come back to the others, but go ahead.
But I think it's really important to be fair to her, because while she is an advocate for defunding the police, she never said that she was against hiring private security. So in a situation in which you can't rely on police, just hire private security. It only costs hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right, but you could just give it to your husband.
That's true, You could do that
so now it sounds like I'm against her, but hold on. So first of all, she spent pretty significant chunk on security, including over $220,000 to another group. And this was about $5,000 a month, it sounds like, and a little over $60,000 overall. So you can say, I don't care if she spent only $10 or $200, it's not right. Okay, that's fine. But it was a smaller portion of the amount spent on security. So it's not like she funneled $500,000 and had no real security. It was just a way of a scam to just get no security but money to herself. No, it doesn't appear that way to me. Okay, finally, the real reason why I'm concerned about these charges is why now? Why the Justice Department? So Ethics Committee clears tons of people that are totally guilty, right? Did they go back and investigate all of them? Maybe, but I haven't seen it. So they decide, okay, out of all those folks, we're gonna take Cori Bush and we're gonna take this to a whole nother level, although we almost never do. Now, she is a member of the squad. She is one of the few people in Congress who has spoken out against Israel. I know a couple of deans that were not strong enough in their language of condemnation, et cetera, that all of a sudden their life was dug into. And by the way, in this case, this was a right-wing group, they don't hide it, who dug into her life, found this, brought it to the Ethics Committee, brought it to the Justice Department, et cetera. Now, there's two schools of thought. One is, I don't care, guilty is guilty. The other school of thought is, I can dig into anyone's life and find something wrong, and then we can all scream, guilty! The question is, why are we digging? Or at least that's half the question. So that's my take. What do you think?
Let's just be clear that you're speculating that this was motivated by her support for Palestinians because there's been no indication that that's the case?
No, let me.
Maybe you came across some indication that I'm not privy to.
Let me clarify the dates.
Okay, go ahead.
So the right-wing group does not look into her because they started looking into her in 2022, well before the 23 attacks, right? Ethics Committee doesn't have anything to do with that. It's before the October 7th attacks, right? The Justice Department's timing, I don't know, except for the fact that it just popped up. Right? Apparently they did not look into it back then, they're looking into it now. And it is weird that this got resolved a long time ago and all of a sudden the Justice Department. Now you could say, Cenk, that is just such a coincidence. UNRWA, the UN group helping Palestinians, investigated, wild coincidence. The deans investigated, wild coincidence, this wild coincidence. Man, maybe it is. Literally, maybe it is. And maybe it's if you mess with powerful people. And again, I'm not just, look, this isn't it's just, groupthink in Washington. If you mess with the establishment groupthink in Washington on any topic, all of a sudden, investigation. Interesting.
Look, we'll see what the findings of the DOJ investigation ends up being. If it is true that she was engaging in self-dealing by taking campaign funds and effectively paying herself. I mean, you're paying your husband, where do you think that money goes? It goes to your household, okay? So like that is a problem. But obviously, this is pending an investigation. We should be fair and wait and see what the results of that investigation end up being. And anyone who stands accused of misusing either campaign money or federal funds, which is not the case here, she's not accused of misusing federal funds, but any type of situation where funds are being misused or misspent, that should be investigated regardless of who it is. Because at the end of the day, you have people donating to your campaign, and they're not expecting you to pay yourself or pay family members to allegedly do security for you, even when they don't have a security license, which I think is another pretty fishy part of this story.
So look, we're fair. That's why we get attacked by all sides. So I'll do more of both sides here because there are both sides. So on the one hand, again, why? Why did you pay your husband? Don't do that. Don't pay your husband over $60,000 or your boyfriend over $60,000. Out of your campaign funds. People gave that money to you, trusting you to
fight for them?
Yeah, to fight for them, to run a campaign that's gonna be really tough with people spending tons of money against you, et cetera. I mean, I told a story the other day in a members only episode here. I'll mention it briefly here. Become a member to get the whole thing, tyt.com/join. I wound up staying at a stripper hotel because I'm trying to save money in New York, right? Because I don't want to waste people's hard-earned money that they're giving to the campaign, right? And so now, when I see over $60,000 to your boyfriend for security, I'm like, I can't believe that you spent campaign funds on that. But okay. On the other hand, Shontel Brown, establishment Democrat, ran against Nina Turner, funneled tons of money to her boyfriend. Way more than 60,000. I don't remember the exact number now, but it might have been in the millions. You could look up the actual report yourself, but it's crystal clear, no question about it, funneled giant amounts of money. And the establishment didn't pick her despite that corruption. They picked her because of that corruption. They thought, oh good, she'll do anything that people ask of her. She's in it for the money, right? So where's the investigation on Shontel Brown? Justice Department, where are you? In fact, I guarantee you, if I said that in Washington, they'd be like, how dare you? That is a Democrat and an African-American woman. Are you trying to target her because she's African? Cori Bush is an African-American woman. Okay, all right, all of a sudden, a giant double standard. If you're part of the establishment, steal anything you like. Oh, you're speaking up against the establishment, we're gonna find something on you. But by the way, don't give them something to find.
100%.
But here it is.
Point number one. That's point number one. Don't engage in self-dealing. No one's gonna investigate you for self-dealing. That's it. All right, so
or just be an establishment corrupt politician, and you can get away with millions of dollars of crimes and illegal activities and funnel way more money to your boyfriend. But you got to make a choice. Are you fighting for the people, or are you a corrupt clown like Shontel Brown and you're allowed to get away with it?
Thanks for watching the video, guys. We also love it if you hit the join button below, because that makes you a member, and members allow us to be independent, honest. We can be as progressive as we want, no corporate media influence, and that's all because of you guys. We love doing the show with our members. Hit the join button, become one of the Young Turks.